Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, and welcome to Verdun. This is a game that I'd done some footage for back when it was in essentially open beta, when it was only available to download through their website. Eventually it showed up on early access. I picked it up then, did a couple of videos. The game, at least as of when I am recording this post commentary, came out officially yesterday. And so I just decided I'd go ahead and play it for a little bit after after its actual release, and it's not that bad. Although it is definitely a fairly niche title at the end of the day. So yeah. However, this video is not really primarily to talk about the game. It's actually more so for me to talk about some changes that I'm actually making to the way I render out videos. The change really just being that I'm changing the video bitrate. I had originally been using a I say originally, if you go back to like some of the very first videos that I uploaded on my channel, they were not at this bitrate. If I recall correctly, they were, I think, sitting at what YouTube actually recommends for 1080p videos. However, at some point, I guess probably within the last year and a half, I decided to increase the bitrate all the way up to essentially, oh, well, not essentially, to a constant bitrate of 50 megabits per second. That's actually overkill because YouTube for 1080p video recommends 8 megabits per second, and for 4K video, YouTube recommends between 35 and 45 megabits per second. However, the reason why I decided to go overkill with the 50 was just to ensure that I did not have what I just referred to as artifacting or pixelation, which is essentially where in the video you end up with all these pixels, it seems like, showing up on the image, which is usually caused by a video bitrate being too low for essentially what is required at that point in time in the video. So I had decided to increase my bitrate to that just to ensure that I never had to worry about that. However, increasing my bitrate also leads to an increase in render times. So I've decided now to lower it to a variable bitrate with an average of 8 megabits per second, which is what YouTube recommends, and a maximum of 10 megabits per second, which is just a little bit over to have some leeway. So if at all possible, in essentially any of the next couple of videos that'll be going up, I would like it if you guys could let me know in the comments section whether or not you notice any, I would say, excessive pixelization, which, as I said before, is essentially the video seems to get all these pixels showing up on the screen, and as I said, that's usually caused by a low video bitrate for what is essentially required at that moment in time. But yeah, so I'm gonna go and obviously watch my videos myself. I always do before they actually go public. Essentially, after they finish uploading and processing, I go and usually watch at least part of the video, depending on the length, just to make sure that it was uploaded properly. However, I'm obviously not, for especially longer videos that are like in the 30-minute range, I'm probably not going to be watching the entire thing. So, especially for those, if you guys could go and let me know in the comments section if you notice any excessive pixelization, because then I can try to fix that. So if the current bit rates that I'm using, which again the average that I'm going to be using for this video and all future videos or at least for the time being, is 8 megabits per second with 10 as a maximum. However, that might potentially be too low, maybe for a certain series. So maybe for a certain series, I'll have to go and give it its own unique render template, essentially, which might have a higher video bitrate at maybe, we'll say, a 10 to a 14, we'll say. I don't really know. But yeah, so if you guys could be kind enough, go let me know in the comments section if you notice any excessive pixelization in this video, and essentially in any of the next videos that'll be uploaded. I guess we'll just say within the next month, just for the sake of having a large samples, or a large group to look at of videos. So yeah, if you guys could do that for me, I'll also be watching my videos, but I may not notice some of them, or I may just say, oh, that's not excessive pixelization to me, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, so if you guys could let me know in the comments section if you notice personally any sort of excessive pixelization in the videos. This one, like I said, this one, and essentially any uploaded within the next month. That way I can try to go, okay, so this series needs its own render template because this is too low of a bitrate, and I can go and give that series its own special render template. However, of course, that series will require some tests, again, still to go and actually find sort of the perfect render bitrate for it, or video bitrate for it, but nonetheless, the idea is just to try to go and find out what bitrate I need for my videos. Preferably, however, the variable bitrate that I'm going to be going with, which again is a average of 8 megabits per second with a maximum of 10. That will hopefully be fine for the bulk of my videos, and only a couple here and there might need a higher bitrate. I'm also kind of curious as to whether or not I might need to double the bitrate for 60 FPS videos, or increase it in any way for 60 FPS video in comparison to 30 FPS. Although the only way for me to effectively test that would be to take the same exact video and render it out at 30 and at 60 and see if there's any increase in pixelization in the 60 FPS version as opposed to the 30 FPS version. However, that's not something I'm honestly probably going to go and test personally, just because it, to me, seems like it's going to be too much of a hassle for all of that, for something that probably isn't going to be that important, at least right now. Honestly, if you look, I don't have that much in the way of 60 FPS video anyway, or 60 FPS videos on my channel anyway. It's pretty much anything that's a first-person shooter, and that's about it. Basically anything else is probably at 30 because I don't need everything to be at 60. But nonetheless, if you guys could, as I said, the purpose of this video is just to find out if this is a good enough bitrate and let you guys know about the change so you can hopefully help me out along the way, essentially for the next month. So, as I have repeated multiple times throughout this video, if you guys could, for this video and any video uploaded within the next month, let me know in the comments section if you notice any pixelization, especially if it's pixelization that you consider excessive. However, of course, excessive is going to vary on a case-by-case basis per person, but the idea is just to find out really what people consider excessive. Or, well, not really find out what they consider excessive, but to find out just okay, I need to go and increase this bitrate, or I need to increase the bitrate here, decrease it here, or whatever. Because I also want to go and try to cut down my render time so that I can hopefully have videos not take 3 hours to render out if they are 30 minutes long and rendered at 60 FPS. Which is basically what Star Trek Online was taking me, and I kind of want to try to get that down a bit if at all possible. And so that's the idea, at least, is I want to try to decrease render times while still ensuring that the overall quality of the videos is still good. In this case, good being there's very little, preferably none, in the way of pixelization. However, I'm going to go and actually cut off the commentary here, although I guess I might as well go ahead and put here at the very end my thoughts on the game, even though I said a little bit of it at the beginning. As I said, I think the game is actually pretty good. It is I would say, a fairly niche title at the end of the day. It's not going to be like the next Call of Duty or anything like that. However, this game was honestly probably never marketed with the idea of trying to be a big blockbuster title like Call of Duty or Battlefield. It is, and my aim was terrible there, I'll be honest with you. That's besides the point. The game is actually pretty good for being a niche title, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, if you're a fan of World War I, note the lack of 2, but 1 instead, then, and if you're also a fan of first-person shooters, you will potentially enjoy this game. The game does have some degree of realism. I mean, if you get shot like anywhere in your body just once in this game, you're dead. It's very rare, if even possible, to survive multiple shots or to survive a single shot in this game, because basically every time I've been shot at in this game, I die in a single shot. Everyone I shoot dies in a single shot, basically. So there really doesn't seem to be a possibility of surviving multiple shots, or surviving a single shot in this game for the most part, unless you're really lucky. Although if the person's using a pistol, you might survive it. But with a rifle, basically a single shot's going to take you down pretty much every time. But nonetheless, that's actually going to be it for this video. I've got some other footage. Let me see. I've got at least 2 other videos at this moment in time. I'll probably have more at a later date. And so yeah, that's actually going to be it for this video. As always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys next time. And as always, for games like this, I'll have a link in the description to the Steam store page. And if the company has their own store page, I will probably also go and provide a link to that as well. But until then, or well, until the next video, goodbye.